right, so we're back. I want to really talk about this real quick, real simple. You know what I'm saying? Y'all see the title. This is basically about how I have a new view on the market, basically. You know what I'm saying? New interpretation on the markets. I have a new systematic approach. I have new risk management. I have new news. All of that, man. This is a November update. All right. So let's get to the big one. I don't trade smart money. I don't trade ICT. I don't even believe in it. All right. And this is what really I've been trading since I started. You know what I'm saying? I found a smart money mentor, not ICT. I knew about ICT like damn near since I started, but I remember when I first started, I didn't like how he taught. It was hella boring. It was long, all these things. So I was like, nah, I'm not feeling that. Let me go to something else. And I found other smart money mentors that taught it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And that's what I've been meshing with since the beginning, right? I remember like smart money just it made sense in my mind. Like the logic behind it made sense. You know what I'm saying? There was logic. It made it like a science or like a mathematical equation. It was something that you could make sense of on the charts, right? Whereas support and resistance, trend lines, all of that stuff, it just didn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like they were like support is support because it's support. Resistance is resistance. Versus you go over the smart money they're talking about. When we sweep this low, this is because the sell stops have been hunted and we're getting the sellers out of their position so we can get larger positions into the market and sweep to the high side. And then we're going to see a retracement to the fair value gap that will then push us to our second leg push to the Asia highs or London highs, whatever the case may be, right? When you hear stuff like that as a beginner trader, you're just like, okay, this is where I need to be. This is what's making sense. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was doing, right? So fast forward, obviously, years and years of trading it, back testing it, doing this, that, and the third. Long story short, you realize it's the same as any other strategy, right? It's not a holy grail, it's not magic, it's not any of that, it's not a science. It's just a concept. It's just a way to enter a trade. Simple as that. The fair value gap it doesn't have magic. The liquidity sweep doesn't have magic. The inversion fair value gap, and they love that one nowadays. That shit don't got magic. None of it, bro. None of it. I don't even believe it's a thing. I believe it's all noise. That's what I really believe now. Like most people are gonna be like, nah, that's just not it. But this is what I truly believe, and you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna confidently stand on that. As someone that ain't even touched a payout in months, I'm still gonna stand on that. You know what I'm saying? And then when I get payouts on the future, it's gonna continue to validate my stance on this market. But I just believe the market is noise, especially on intraday. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking weeks and months, that's a different story. But if we're talking intraday, like day to day candlesticks, the hourly chart, 15, all that, I believe it's all noise. 5 minute, 1 minute, all of these charts, I believe it's noise. It's not something you can really make sense of. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was, then there would be someone out there at least a few people out there with something along the lines of a verified brokerage account with somewhere in the range of 80 to 90% win rate. I'm allowing that 10% for human error and shit like that. I really want to say 100% because if it was a way to break this down into a science or a way to understand this market to a T, then there will be someone with a extremely high win rate, right? So, and that's just not the case. You see people with a month of 80% win rate, 90% win rate, but you won't see someone with a year verified broken statements, some crazy win rate like that. You know what I'm saying? You just don't see it. Everybody has their runs and everybody has their cold streaks. This is trading. It's just how it works. No way around it. But once you understand that shit, it kind of opens your eyes to how to actually trade because now I've changed my risk management because Once I've understood that the market is all noise, or once I'm not gonna say understood because it's all up to interpretation, right? Once I've changed my belief on the market to believing that it's all noise, that's when I really dial down on my risk management. As y'all know, I put risk management first, but now it's like everything. It's everything. You know what I'm saying? Before it was risk management first, now it's risk management's everything because I believe the candles are just noise. So now the way that I trade, I don't have static stops because before I used to have a stop above the high or something like that because that's where the trade's invalidated. It goes above the high and the buy stops are swept, whatever the woo woo woo. That's when it's invalidated. Now I just manage my trades based on the drawdown and based on how much risk I need to be setting. It doesn't matter where that high is, the low is, woo woo woo, anything like that. I just manage my trades. And I also do not trade the intraday anymore. Trying to catch that intraday move, man, I'm glad I'm over that shit right now. Because the way I trade right now is very quick. I'm doing like I'm scalping. You could say almost like hyper scalping or something like that. Because my trades on average as of recently have been anywhere from 10 seconds long on a loss or something like that. Sometimes a 10-second win. Sometimes it just flies. But you know what I'm saying? I have very tight stops. So, and I'm talking like 6 points, sometimes 5 points. So I'll get stopped out in as little as 10 seconds. And sometimes my trades run up to like 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's not long trades at all. We're doing some scalping here. And it's been way more consistent for me because in my recent performance, I've just been able to manage my stop losses better because I guess the trade's happening more fast and I'm able, it just meshes with me a little better than an intraday move. Because with the intraday moves, I was just eating full losses, right? I was eating full losses, $200 loss, $300 loss, whatever the case may be. Whereas I really should have been, I had the occasional break even, that simple risk management. But what I really should have been doing is just flat out cutting that trade as soon as it went against me, just by the slightest bit. I used to run 30-point stops with a 40-point TP. That's how I got my first payouts. You can go back and see them. I ran 30-point stop, 40-point TP. That's like a 1.6R, something like real simple shit, right? And I was doing that to get a payout. But what happens with that is your losses, if you're just eating the entire full loss and not cutting them short sometimes, it just eats away at your winners. So inevitably, whether you're trading prop, whether you're trading a real account, you're going to be back to zero. You may have your run, but you're going to be back to zero. You know what I'm saying? What makes the difference is cutting those losers early. And that's something I was just never able to do my entire trading journey. I've always had that set stop loss above the high or the low or whatever point amount. And that was that. It hits it or it doesn't. Now, what I do is I have a trailing stop. And that trailing stop is major, y'all. Let me give y'all a gem, man. If you're having trouble cutting losses, try out the trailing stop. Try it out. What I've been doing is I set a 40 tick trailing stop where I like to enter, right? I set a 40 tick trailing stop, super simple. Nowadays, I trade the range. So let's say we're at the top of the range. You know what I'm saying? I'll start to look for shorts. If I see price really booming up against like we're at the top of the range here and I see price really booming up, I'll set my trailing stop above the price. And then if I see another boom up towards my trailing stop, I'll market entry. And that way I have a real tight stop and I get great risks to reward. I get great risk to reward every single time. On average, I've been getting 3R. So when you do that, you getting small losses. You will lose a good amount. I have like a 32% win rate on these recent performances. It's nothing astonishing, nothing crazy, right? But what will happen is your profit factor will increase because you have those tiny losses because the trailing stop is not allowing that to get any wider. It's going to close in on the stop. It's going to close in as price moves in your favor. You're going to be taking small, tiny wins because the trailing stop will take you out at a small win. You'll take base hits, meaning like, you know, zero point 0.5 R, 1 R, 1.5 R. You'll take those base hits with the trailing stop because it will follow. And then what I do is I manually take off the runners because the runners typically don't happen too often. And when they happen, I see they get snatched back very quick. So I manually take the runners off. I don't aim for the moon. I don't aim for 100 points. I aim for maximum like 30 points. You know what I'm saying? And I'm risking about 4 to 10 points a trade, anywhere in that realm. It used to all be static, right? I used to always have this point stop, this point TP, this risk, that risk, that risk. But as I've been gaining more experience, I've just been getting super discretional with my trading. And it's been working out for me so much better than the mechanical trading. Like way better. I had a October combine that was beautiful. Past that combine. Now I have two XFAs that I'm trading right now. One is in drawdown. One, and I also brought that one out of drawdown. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, one is sitting flat at zero balance, and then one is in drawdown, right back where it was, man. I also built that one up. It was down 1100. I built that back up in October with the combine. I'll put some pictures or something. I built it back up, and then I upped the risk on it because I was tired of risking a little 1 micro, 3 micros. I said, I built this account back up, but there's no way I'm about to trade it for another month to just get $500 payout, or if anything, you know what I'm saying? Because you can still go back into drawdown. So right when I got that account back to zero, I told myself, okay, I'm gonna just risk. I'm gonna risk minis, and what happens happens. I lost three trades, or I lost three or four trades, and it is what it is. I'm completely fine with that result. What happened happened. Just trading, you know what I'm saying? But in October, I built those accounts. I built that combine. I built that account back up with my trailing stop risk management, and it's just beautiful. November, been trading it as well. It's just clean work, man. It's just clean work. There's a lot of small losses. So if you're not built to take those small losses, like last year, me wouldn't be able to trade this system. You know what I'm saying? Because those tiny losses fucking hurt, and it's like I just had to get used to that type of shit. But then once I got used to it, those tiny losses are actually amazing once you get used to it, because you'll see a tiny loss for, let's say, I'll be trading something like two minis. That's $40 a point. I'll see a tiny loss like 300. You know what I'm saying? When I could have potentially lost something like 600, 700. You feel me? I'll see a tiny loss for 300, another tiny loss for four, a break even, tiny win for $80, and then you see that runner for 1,000. That's what this system is about. Small losses, small wins with occasional runner. I'm not looking for a 1 to 1 every time. I'm not looking for a 1 to 5 every time. I'm just looking for consistency. And that is so hard to pull off manually. That's why I say use that trailing stop. That'll keep you consistent day to day instead of having to wake up, get on these charts, and have to be absolutely beyond locked in every time you show up. You feel me? The trailing stop helps you so much when you're just not 100%, or when you maybe don't have the best discipline that day, whatever the case may be. The trailing stop is super good for that. So I recommend y'all check out a trailing stop instead of just dragging your stop, dragging your TP, you know what I'm saying, dragging to break even like everybody does. I recommend that trailing stop. Give it a try at least. And it might just change your trading like it did for me, because it opened my eyes to like none of this other shit matters. I don't need to be optimizing how I'm entering. I don't need to be, well, a little bit. I don't need to be optimizing how I analyze this, that, and the third. I just need to manage my risk consistently. And that's what I was failing to do. It seemed like I was doing it, but I was failing to do it to the extent that you need to see consistency in these markets. I was doing it to the extent where I could see a payout here and there, but I wasn't doing it to the point where I could see consistency in these markets. And now I believe that I am. And I'm saying it right now as I haven't even touched a payout since June or July. I can't remember. So it takes a lot of confidence to say something like that. I truly believe that even though I'm unprofitable right now or have slightly profitable since I've made money but I haven't touched money in a while. I believe that if I keep on going with this shit, this new risk management, this new interpretation on the marks that I have, it'll just keep me clear headed and just keep me managing risk. Even if the market isn't just noise and there's reasons or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I genuinely believe that this interpretation and this risk management is going to make me consistent. So I'm just going to keep with it. It's the game plan. And trying to think if there's anything else I want to touch on. Talked about smart money, talked about the ICT, talked about the interpretation on the markets, talked about the risk management, talked about October, talked about November. Yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. I just want to give y'all an update, a couple of gems that might help y'all out. And for anyone that wants to just tune in, get y'all that update, you feel me? But I'm about to get up out of here, man. It was a cool little chat. I'm gonna catch up with y'all when I catch up with y'all. Like I said, 2026, 2026, tune in, man. Tune the fuck in. Cause I'm about to turn this social media shit up, bruh. I've been doing this trading shit too long. I think it's about time I start adding value to the space. I've been seeing so many gurus popping up, bruh. I know so many new traders are getting fucked over. So I feel like it's almost like a responsibility of mine to like go into the space more more out there, you feel me? And talk about how I'm really trading and talk about how you really should trade and talk about what's fake out there and shit like that because I feel like I genuinely got value to offer to the trading space. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, see what's happening, and then yeah, 2026, man. Stay tuned for that. Hope y'all enjoyed the little update. I'm out. Before I keep on yapping, I'm out, man. Deuces.